Horn, and I'm here to tell you that fucking your dreams ain't cheap. In fact, it costs a ton of cash to do. So that's why me and the Ohno radio show need your help. Just go to the website displayed below and hit us up with some cash, yo. $1, $5, fuck, $1,000,000 if you have it to spare. Any amount is appreciated. Well, I gotta go because these dreams ain't gonna fuck themselves. See ya!
And welcome back to another edition of the No Wrestling Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, your host this evening, and captain of the Sharkness, the one and only Shark Break Kid Owen. Along with him tonight, the bald man himself, the sexiest of all the titty twisters. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of bong style, Duncan.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, dude, welcome to the show this evening. Duncan, how you feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling great. Feeling good. How are you?
You know, it's nice of you to ask. No one ever asks me on these shows, how are you doing, Owen?
It's always what's the captain doing,
What?
not how's the captain
Yes, exactly. And I'm usually the captain of another ship, and I usually don't call myself a captain of this ship, because this is more of a mutual affair. This is all of us kind of chiming in. I kind of just slipped into another mode there. Hope you'll excuse me for that. But maybe it's because I'm just so excited to be here, talk some wrestling with you tonight, and plenty to discuss, as
Absolutely.
there always is in the year of 2021. I don't think there will ever be a week that we don't have plenty of wrestling shenanigans to discuss.
I agree.
BDM Alley in the chat. Hey there, how's it going? I hope you're a wrestling fan, because this is the Ohno Wrestling Podcast. Yeah. Sometimes they slip over. They don't know what the hell they're,
It's okay.
they're on about.
You get the same notification regardless. It's always tune in, you jabronis.
Tune in, you jabronis. It fits both, right?
Yeah, exactly. Conspicuous by his absence is our good brother, the modern day Maharaja, Matthew. We do miss him, and we will hopefully see him next week. But the show must go on, and we're here to talk a little bit of wrestling.
Yeah. And you know what? We'll even start with this because it's sad he can't be here. For I think he would have had a lot to say about what I'm about to say, and be very happy about the one and only Jinder Mahal making a big return last night. The modern day Maharaja. He came in and he was all like, "Fuck you, Drew McIntyre. We got some history together. You don't." What was the thing? He just like, "You don't return my calls" or something.
He had texted him, and it took him like 3 days to get back to him or something.
And he's all butthurt about it.
The best part about that was Jinder riding into the backstage area on a goddamn motorcycle?
Yeah, dude, I thought he looked awesome. And I
I
mean,
thought he did too, but I'm just like, are we borrowing from Taker's gimmick now? What is happening now?
I'm okay with the American badass Jinder Mahal. Like if
Oh
we
my god, the American Indian badass.
the American Indian badass. Like
Wait
that,
a minute, the Indian American. Hold
I don't
on.
know how that works because you can't do
I don't
American Indian. Like
No, wouldn't that be indigenous?
that's an
American?
indigenous American. So
Okay,
that's
so
not
I think we can do
Indian American badass.
but he's Canadian.
Indian Canadian badass.
All right, Indian Canadian badass. All right, we
Yeah.
got it. That's the name of the show, Indian Canadian badass.
Indian Canadian. I have to write that down.
You have to.
I will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Canadian Badass. Yeah, dude. Okay. So seeing that, I was just like, this is ridiculous, and I love it.
And
Like there was
so many people today. I've seen shit all over it, and I'm like, and yes, was it a terrible Raw? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But this was a highlight, and this was something that I can like actually sink my teeth into. Yeah, it's kind of nonsensical in a storyline that we're gonna point out that once upon a time we were both in a really shitty group, but I think this is something we've said since the beginning of Drew's like rise and Jinder's return that it could work. And the reasons being is it's like, look at us. Now we've both been world champions. We both have this pedigree. We should both be like friends and reacquainted to a certain degree. Yet Drew, you're being an ass. You're not even responding to, texts from me.
right.
And now I'm feeling like Jinder's the face and Drew is the heel in the situation.
And I love it.
And it's so goofy. It's almost so terribly written. It's great.
It has all of the potential to be that we are gonna take shit and turn it into gold.
Yeah.
Like and honestly, if anybody can do it, I think it's Drew and Jinder.
And it's weird too because Jinder, let's be real, he is not the most exciting of pro wrestlers as far as in-ring style or but there is something about him. There's a charisma with
There's
Jinder.
a charisma.
There's
Sure
definitely a charisma with Jinder. And I think it's the perfect person that Drew needs right now too, to keep him away from the main event scene, but also have something that people will care about and keep him relevant. And it's gonna help Jinder too.
Absolutely, and I think that's what I am looking forward to the most about this is the fact that it can be serious and have humor
At the same
time.
Yep.
It can be a total pro wrestling feud and like in a way that we haven't seen in a while.
Sometimes we need a goofy, old school, just pro wrestling feud. Not everything
We need pro wrestling.
No, sometimes it doesn't need to be Shakespeare or these elaborate Kenny Omega plans or
like year-long builds or anything like that.
Sometimes it just needs to be. It needs what is it? Less is more, that phrase.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also like just let them take the ball and run with it.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the fact that after is it Veer? Is Veer and like Shanky or something? Jinder's
Veer and Shanky. Yes,
I got him. Wow. Yeah, they're
because I know Shanky is one because I'm just like I don't know why I love this name so much, but I really do.
Because Shanky just is like it sounds dirty in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it totally does.
Like you could call someone a shanky guy. If I called you a shanky guy, you'd be like, "Fuck you, man." Like I don't know what that means.
Be like,
but...
well, see, I think he's kind of shanky means is just like he's kind of stabby.
Oh yeah.
Like he's it's like he's kind of shanky. He might.
That's
true.
Watch out for I forgot about that connotation. But they're perfect. Good. I love that henchman dynamic with Jinder. Jinder's always the guy. Like he's had the Bollywood boys before. Or the Singh brothers.
R.I.P. Bollywood boys.
R.I.P. But yeah, like he fits well in always having like his little like circle of dudes.
I don't know why that works so well, but it really does
for him.
I think it works because he looks big enough to be able to take care of himself, but for some reason, just having that muscle around him gives him that extra level
aura
of, like, fuck
of
you, man.
Yeah. And I love the fact that there was the whole beat down. There was everything that needed to happen. And Jinder goes and steals Drew's sword.
By Drew's sword, we mean Vince's sword, which I would have to think that by now they gave Vince his sword back and just bought another one for a prop.
You would have to think. You would, logically. But I like it's sort of it's metaphorical in a way as well, because Drew, let's be real, Drew has been boring the piss out of us for the last few weeks with just simply talking about random history lessons.
Oh my
God. Like it started with
stupid.
Scottish history, like now he's talking about the Alamo or something. Like I don't know what that's all about.
Drew, what the fuck do you know about the Alamo?
Yeah. That one was confusing to me. So
Like,
it's
God damn
in a weird way, it's sort of poetic that like Jinder's just like taking all that away by going and stealing, his sword.
Yeah.
Like, fuck all your history lessons. I've got a sword now.
Like, I have a sword now.
You know,
That's
it would be-
really all that matters.
Dude.
Is just like all of your arguments are irrelevant because I have a sword.
Oh, think about this. Eventually, of course, Drew's
Sword on a pole match.
No. Drew's gonna get his sword back. But what Jinder can do, think about this.
He gets one of those big
scimitars.
scimitars.
That's the word I
Yeah.
was looking for. Yeah, he could start coming out with a goddamn scimitar, and then it's like, dude, there's something there.
And then we have a sword
sword-
fight in the ring.
Yes,
And then it ends up
with
oh my
death.
God.
I don't know how.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how
no,
we
death,
work that.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure.
It's the only logical outcome. Is just like, look, we've run out of ways to make there be actual, like we talked about with Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
Like we've run out of ways for there to be blow-offs for these feuds, so I guess it's just death now.
death now. That's the only way we could do it, and
Yep.
it's gonna be by stabbings.
Yeah, it's a duel to the fucking death with swords.
Mhm.
And then they'll have to step it up, and eventually it'll be like a old school duel at 10 paces with one-shot pistols.
I feel like I would take the scimitar against that two-hand long
The
sword.
two-handed bastard sword.
Yeah, that Drew rocks about with, because
Yeah.
that takes a lot of like time and strength to get in there with, and you got a swift weapon with the scimitar that you could easily kind of, before he's even close to you, you've kind of chopped him
Yeah.
in the belly or whatever.
Well, the thing you got with the long sword is
distance, right.
So if you can connect with one of those shots,
Then it's over.
then I mean you're in a lot better shape than if you
Right.
like. But what happens if you like whiff wide and like the sword goes wide?
Yeah,
and then,
one
like,
miss,
you're
it's over.
you're wide open
Oh,
with that
and you're-
scimitar. You're just getting filleted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, that's some
welcome
interest-
to sword fighting. Oh no, sword
I
fighting.
was just gonna say our fantasy booking has gotten real weird. Like,
real weird.
real weird.
I don't think this is PG anymore.
Well, everybody likes the Attitude Era, so go, whatever.
I
tell
think
you-
we're more in the IWA King of the
Probably.
Deathmatch area.
FW something. What is it? What's the Japanese one?
FMW.
FMW.
FMW is the newer Japanese one. IWA is the deathmatch tournament that Foley won.
Gotcha.
Also, man, I don't want to bring it down, but
Oh yeah, we got to bring it up. I mean,
I
it was in
gotta-
my notes, obviously.
I'm sure it was. And like, this is sorry for everybody,
No.
but this is going to be a fairly news heavy episode. But man, Terry Funk, just like I no thoughts and prayers, but all of my good energy goes out to the Funker, who is apparently in an assisted living facility and suffering with dementia.
Yeah, Terry Funk,
And-
man. I mean, such a legend. The thing
Yeah.
about Funk too is he's looked about 85 for 45 years,
Correct.
and
Dude, Chainsaw Charlie looked old in 1997.
Yes, he did, and that was at the very tail end of his career, or not
Yeah.
even really. Yeah, honestly, he still probably did another 10, 15 years of wrestling after that.
At least.
Yeah, sorry, like I
Fuck, at
misspoke.
least.
Yeah, that's nuts. So, I don't know if you saw that. All reports apparently are that he's in some like assisted.
Yeah, it's not like he's in hospice.
Yeah, at first when I read it, I'm like, oh no, he's in hospice or some
No,
shit. But
Bismarcky is in hospice.
I have heard that. That's very sad, but
It
for
is very
another
sad.
day.
Right.
Oh baby, you.
One of that was like the most fun 3 months tour of my life.
I know it was. Shout out to Yo Gabba Gabba. But
That's right.
But yeah, so he's
So-
in some form because there was a tweet from Tommy Dreamer who had apparently talked to him just a couple hours ago. And
Okay.
and it in which I can pull it up actually, I think rather to
Yeah,
not
I know
do it
Foley
any-
had tweeted out a big tweet in support too,
Mhm.
and it's just like it's sad.
Of course it is.
However, I will say that the man has probably had more undiagnosed concussions than most normal people, than any 10 normal people would have combined.
He's I mean, he's like a cat. He's had more than 9 lives in a
Jesus
lot of
Christ,
ways.
You're not lying. Like the ECW flaming chair thing when they almost burned the arena down, and
Like, yes, it's pro wrestling, but at times.
but yeah, at some point you do have an element of like everything that's happening is happening for real.
Yeah.
You know, like whether, because I hate when people say it's fake. It's not fake.
It's
the outcome is
predetermined.
predetermined.
It's predetermined. It's pretty
The easiest
simple.
way to- yeah.
So Tommy Dreamer on Twitter earlier today said everyone needs to relax. I just got off the phone with Terry Funk. He's not in bad health. Not being capitalized. He loves everyone talking about him. Direct quote from Funker. I'm currently sitting in an assisted living place with my thumb up my ass, whistling Dixie, but I don't remember the words.
Oh man. That is all right. So
That's so quintessential Funk.
that is so on brand Funk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like couldn't be more on brand Terry Funk.
And he might be going through some I think what he's saying there too is he's having probably some memory spells.
Yeah.
Like he's probably all that shit's kind of catching up to him, the concussions and whatnot.
Right.
But he's like, I'm here. I'm not dying.
I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. I feel,
He's like, I'm fine. I'm just fucking bored.
yeah. And I'm probably old and I hurt a lot.
Dude, how old is Terry Funk?
Gosh.
Like that. Hold on.
You got it.
I got it.
I can probably do it too. Here. See.
I got it.
I got a new
Terry.
laptop off to the side.
Terry Funk, 77.
Yep, you are right. And
Born
dude,
in Hammond, Indiana. No shit.
Indiana. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. So yeah, he it sounds like to me that he's just like he needs to probably have like caretakers. And why
Yeah.
wouldn't you at 77 after all that he's been through? Probably
Dude.
needs, some help getting up and down and he probably got in trouble remembering when to take certain pills and all that.
He was
kind of
having
shit.
trouble remembering shit when
That they did that one documentary on him. I know.
This is
he
what I'm saying. It was the,
which one was that?
Beyond. No, it wasn't Beyond the Mat. Was it Beyond the Mat?
Is it in that one? I couldn't tell you. I've forgotten, but I know I've seen what you're talking about because his daughters are talking about it. Where they're like, I think it's a special one just on Terry Funk, if I'm not mistaken. It's slipping my mind, but
Well, because they talked to that ref or that other wrestler who was like mad about not being booked, and like Terry
Yep.
runs into him about, and it was like a Funk retirement show, and this movie has got to be like close to 20 years old now.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah,
So he was having issues then, let alone
right.
today.
Right.
So now, speaking of crazy stuff, we'll move on a little bit, and
Go on.
I just want to say my favorite thing on AEW this week was those sweet, sweet elite mustaches, my friend.
Oh man, the most child molestery on the sex offender registry mustaches that 3 men could possibly have.
It took me a second, and I was able to get it, but it took me a second. And like, which one's Nick and which one's Matt now? Like, it's
Right?
kind of it's confusing. But and then like Omega's with his stupid
dude, almost the Triple H.
Yep.
Honestly, he's close to our good brother Nick Morrow. Like, remember
Yeah.
Morrow's?
Yeah. Very, very much in that same vein. I just love it with the characters, and it fits so well with their danglies and their just pompous ass antics.
Like, everything about it is just like, no, this is also classic pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
I wondered for a while, I'm like, is this going to be like a one night thing? But I have a strange feeling they're going to be rocking this for a little bit now.
It's like their Bizarro version.
Yeah. And I watched BTE this past week, and at the end of BTE, they always have like the cartoons of them sitting on the piles of cash or the thrones of cash.
I follow the animator that makes those.
Okay, so and it's like they always, it's their bumper at the end to sell their merch or whatever. But on this latest one, it was them with the mustaches. They had updated it to have the mustaches.
That's
so awesome. One has to kind of think they're keeping it for a little while. I don't know that you're doing that for one episode of BTE.
No, it seems like more of a long-term run for me.
Yeah. And I'm here for it. I love them. And
oh, dude, I absolutely love it.
and let's be real too. Like what on this BTE, I don't know if you saw, but they're blaming Cutler for the mustaches. That's the reason, because he convinced them to get them, and that was the reason that they lost, because that was the only thing that was different from
was the mustaches.
Week. Then you've got fucking Chad or Carl Anderson in the background there being like, no, it's because we need to cheat more. We need to cheat. We need to cheat more, which is a reference to his personal life a little bit, I think.
Right.
And Gallows being, this motherfucker always wants to cheat. It's not all about cheating. You gotta catch kids. You gotta catch kids, and then you gotta catch more kids. No, that's not it either. And then it's the mustaches. They blame Cutler or what have you.
Oh my God.
But the ramifications of this, of course, by losing to Kingston and Penta in this match, are that Kingston and Penta get another match, in which they put the belts on the line.
And it's
when is that? I don't. It's a street fight now.
Yeah.
I think it's been it's now become a street fight. Yeah.
It's a street fight so that now nobody can bitch about the tag rules.
That's a good point.
Because
and it gives the Bucks an out to lose as well.
Yeah.
Or either side, let's be honest. They can go either way with that.
Right, absolutely.
But
so what if it's a returning Phoenix?
I think that's part of it.
I think that's a big part of it.
I think that's a big part of it as well. When is that scheduled for? Is that scheduled for a Dynamite, or is that scheduled for an all out?
Is that Road Rager?
Well, there's so many goddamn pay-per-views coming. Or not pay-per-views, but these TV
Events.
specials. I pulled a screenshot today of just someone posted, man, July's going to be a really good, month of wrestling. Tonight, which we'll talk about in just a second, you've got NXT's Great American Bash.
Oh, yeah.
Then you've got next, tomorrow is the Road Rager. Then ROH Best in the World. Then Fyter Fest.
Shit.
Then Impact Slammiversary.
Oh, yeah.
Money in the Bank. Fight for the Fallen. And then Wrestle Grand Slam. So it's at the Tokyo Dome. So it's that's a lot of shit right there in this month. So I don't know when they booked. It might have been Road Rager. Now that I think about it,
I think it is.
Which would be tomorrow. Interesting. Let me look.
Wow. So apparently, I'm trying to just catch some of the what's happened.
Yeah,
on
what's
Great
happening
American Bash so far.
Yeah.
They have a corporate sponsor with an advertising tie-in on an NXT show, and it's Bud Light Seltzer.
Interesting. That's kind of a first. Well,
I
and
mean,
it being well, just it being a adult beverage.
right.
It's
that's
been a
what
long, yeah, it's been a long time. It's usually fucking Skittles or some shit, like.
Yeah, or Snickers or whatever. So
What were we
I don't
looking
know
at?
if
What the hell? Yeah, fucking Eddie Kingston.
oh yeah, the
I
if
just want
that's
to know
the
when that match is.
ooh. Samoa Joe will be the special guest referee as Karrion Kross and Johnny Gargano face off for the NXT Championship.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do we, man? I'll come back to this in a sec. But do you think that it's like all set up? This is all set up just to get Kross to the main roster and have Gargano as a transitional champ?
I think that makes sense. I didn't necessarily think that until they brought him over for a couple of matches on main event. But dude, like Kross is just so main roster material. I could absolutely see it. And also, like, this is how I see it going out. Joe somehow being the referee costs Kross the title. And then you have Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross as Kross's way out of NXT.
That's not a bad one. Joe sends him on his way. Is that?
Yeah, loser
I mean,
leaves NXT or like
that could work. I don't mind that. By the way, Road Rager. Yeah. So
is it
so that's tomorrow night.
tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Road Rager in Miami, Florida. I believe that the ticket sales have been pretty astronomical. I think they're 75% sold already, and they'll clear.
Where are they? What arena are they at?
That one I'd have to look up. I don't.
All right, hold on. I'll look that up.
Yeah, if you look that one up. But yeah, they're doing really good. Oh wait, it's the James L. Knight Center. James L. Knight Center,
All right,
Miami,
let me
Florida.
see what the.
And for my, it was one of those that when they first advertised it, it was going to be socially distanced. And I think that they sold all those tickets already, and then they opened up more because things have relaxed more, and they feel comfortable, obviously, doing less social distancing and putting more people in the stadium. And, and they're already at like 75% in the, of
So according
sales,
to this, the theater is 4,569 capacity. Nice.
So it's about daily size then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But that's a good start. That's a good, and I can see them. There's going to be some interesting things on this. Like I could see them doing a belt change on their first touring show back.
Yeah.
We've got, Cody, just to run down that card, Cody Rhodes, QT Marshall strap match. Bucks Kingston, Penta Street Fight Tag Team Championships. Andrade versus Matt Sydal singles match. Hager, Santana, Ortiz versus Wardlow, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood in the 6-man tag team match. Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus the Blade and the Buddy in a mixed tag team match. So that's interesting.
That's just a mixed tag team match. It's not an intergender tag team match.
No, you're right. But the only belt on the line is the tag team championship. So do they do it there with the Bucks, with Penta? I mean, I actually want Penta and Kingston to get some gold. So I don't know that it's time. I kind of want.
I don't know that it's time. So I heard a theory earlier this week on listening to something, and they were talking about like the trios title being sort of like lucha rules,
which indulge me.
So it's basically to where like you like the rules are a lot looser. Like if you jump over the top rope, it counts as a tag and somebody else comes in. If you roll out of the ring, it's a tag and somebody else comes in.
Well, and they give them a lot longer too
they give them a lot longer, and there's a lot less. It's not the kind of match that FTR would want to be a part of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's sort of the opposite of that. And I could see that because it would allow for the matches to be a lot more chaotic without people, sometimes rightfully, sometimes just being smarky dickheads, being like, well, what about the tag rule? You know, what about the ropes and what about the count? What about
so in a way, by introducing the trios thing, it's the best of both worlds, in that you can kind of like have the focus more directed towards not all the flippy shit being over there, but maybe a little looser rules and all that, and then actual tag teams, like a little more strict wrestling going on in the actual tag team division.
Yeah, I think that makes all the sense in the world.
I like that idea because they've frequently said, like the EVPs of AEW, that they want a little bit of everything, right? Like they want to have a little bit of every style and a little bit of every, form of not only sports entertainment but wrestling and having the mixture of both. They're set up a little bit more, of course, on the ranking system, but I don't think that they've done a poor job of still delivering a lot of the sports entertainment stuff.
I don't think so either.
Some of it's not hit well. Some of it's been,
but they're also trying to sports entertain in a different way than WWE does.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of that has hit very well.
Speaking of the WWE and back to that for a little bit, let's get into some just very quick news with a couple of little things. You want the good one or the bad one first?
I mean, I always like to get the bad one out of the way.
I'm the same. And this is definitely going to spark a good amount of conversation, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners, if they're wrestling fans, have heard already, but that Jimmy Uso was arrested again for a DUI. This now, he hasn't been convicted on all counts, but he has been arrested 5 times.
He hasn't been convicted on anything, but
he's been
of this one.
Of this one, but there are some different charges. I think they're like stemming back for the last, I want to say 3 years, maybe 4, but he's been arrested 5 times.
5 times, right?
And some of them are like a little different charges than others, like reckless driving and if you know anything about DUIs, you end up with a reckless when you maybe have a good lawyer and you had a DUI and you get that instead of the actual DUI, which is, a worse sentence. But this is disappointing, and it's also kind of scary because the Usos, as we know, are an incredible tag team.
Yep.
And Jay has absolutely killed it. While Jimmy was recovering from injury, he's absolutely killed it as a single star. And the storyline, of course, going forward on SmackDown with the Usos and Roman and the family, head of the table, all that stuff, is probably the best thing going in the company. So to have Jimmy just come back, 2 months ago, something? Like, it's not been long. To have this all happen is definitely throwing a wrench in the gears, one would think and say.
Right.
And I read a report earlier today saying that WWE haven't formally come up with their stance on it yet. I'm not using proper terminology, but
no, they're basically like what they're gonna do.
What they're gonna do, but apparently backstage, like they are pissed. They are pissed.
I read that too, and I'm just like, I can't even fucking blame them.
I can't blame them on this one. We're putting you like hot shotting you into the hottest angle in North American wrestling. Let's be real, because it is but as far as viewership,
anything
goes,
involved with Roman Reigns right now is going to be the hottest shit going.
He's the hottest wrestler in North America, without a doubt. I love you, Kenny Omega, but at the same time, the Roman Reigns angle and everything going on with Roman, he's the biggest he's the biggest superstar, I would say, in North America. And you're associated with him. You're gonna be on TV all the time. We're giving you the world here, and you fuck it up again. And this is dangerous. And if I'm Jimmy Uso, I'm worried this time. I might not have been worried before because, well, they're not going to want to keep Jay and not me as well. But Jay's proven himself on his own. And maybe we don't need Jimmy. Maybe Jimmy needs to go get some help and go away for a while. And I hope that's what needs to happen.
All jokes and all bullshit aside, like, he needs to get some help for this, because obviously this is more of a problem than it is a mistake.
Yes. And even if I'll say it this way, even if you're an alcoholic, you still have the choice to get in a car behind the wheel or not.
Yes, you sure do. Because I know plenty of alcoholics and plenty of drunks who will go out and enjoy themselves, and then they Uber.
Exactly. Or have a designated driver or whatever it is. You have the money, bro. You can spend the cash on an Uber. Like,
that's what I'm saying, dude. And this is what I'm saying. Like, and that's why it shows that it's a problem.
Yeah.
And that it needs to be addressed. Is that, like, he has money. He has.
And he's the one. He's the one married to Naomi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which that's probably not going to look great on her either. And if you've looked at her booking lately, I wonder if there's a little bit of, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, this
maybe.
just happened, but at the same time, maybe he's not as trusted. Maybe there are things that, like, I know they had that whole domestic dispute way back when as well. Like, there's some shit going on there that obviously needs to be resolved. Yeah. And if I'm an employer, I don't think I'm comfortable with Jimmy in my workplace all the time, because he's going to kill someone.
One of these fucking days.
One of these fucking days. If you keep getting behind the car in this sense, so.
Right. Well, and dude, it just shows that once again, it shows that he needs help, and he needs to get his substance issues under control.
It's sad, obviously, on a personal level for him, but it's also, sad for the storyline and a much more, just.
Yeah, and the fact that all of them are family, and it's just like so it's a whole lot of layers of.
Are they gonna play into this too? Like, because that's what I think they might do. Because they've been not shy about doing this in the past.
Not at all. They've done it with.
And it would fit really well in.
It's terrifying. My studio door wasn't completely shut, and it just opened, and I'm just like,
ghosts or serial killers.
I mean, I really hope it's ghosts and not serial killers.
Yeah. You might get a ghost job. Who knows?
Yeah, a GJ.
Yeah, the old GJ.
Like I'm fucking Dan Aykroyd.
But dude, you can easily have Roman like now berating him or something for like letting the family down and stuff like that. Like and that would be the wrong. I'm not saying they should do that. I'm saying that is 100% the wrong thing to do, because you don't want to take a guy who has a clear issue.
This is like Hawk all over again.
Yes. And if you don't remember that, guys, that was when they literally made fun and an angle out of Hawk's substance abuse.
Right, and they made him play into it.
And they made him like act
like a drunk.
Yeah.
On stage. And so what
It was Jake the Snake. It was Jake the Snake for a while too, with Jerry
and
Lawler.
Scott Hall.
And Scott Hall. Yep.
What I'm more concerned about.
Jeff Hardy.
And that was fucking recent. That
was real recent. So we just to prove that they will do this shit.
They absolutely will. What I'm more concerned about is them booting Jimmy into rehab.
Right.
And then Roman berates Jay and takes it out on Jay for his brother being a fuck up and being
like, you couldn't keep your brother in line type thing.
Yeah. How can I trust you to be at my side if you can't keep your brother in check, kind of thing?
That's dirty too. It's dirty too. And Jay doesn't deserve that with the amount that he's grown as a performer.
No, Jay doesn't deserve. I think honestly, if anything, the fact that Roman has the sway that he has right now, he would not want to do that because it also doesn't look great for. It doesn't look great for his character.
Doesn't look great for anyone right now. Like,
No. So they have to do something. They can't just avoid it.
is Roman the one that puts Jimmy in rehab? Pays for the rehab?
See, that
sort
I
of
think
works.
can work.
That can sort of work, right?
Okay. So like that can work.
It's still, you can still be the heel, but you can also, I'm protecting you, fam. Like Oos.
Yeah, I'm protecting you.
You know,
it's just like, look, you have him, and this is it's like literally just like.
And maybe
like,
they don't say what exactly the problem is, but everybody knows. Like, you got to.
No, and honestly, this doesn't have to be done in the ring. This can be done in a backstage segment with one of those where like Roman's sitting in his fancy executive dressing room, and he could just be sitting there with his hands like.
Maybe you've got Heyman in the ear, like saying, "Hey, man, this is what you need to do. This guy's a bit of a liability. I know he's your family, but this is probably what you need to do." And I've got.
And then you just literally have Roman cut a promo on Jimmy like, "You've embarrassed me. You've embarrassed the family.
Right.
Like your actions have, they've brought shame to our heritage.
Yep.
And for that, you are going to get it taken care of."
I'm going to be interested to see if they blur the lines a little bit between reality and pro wrestling on this one. I did see a funny comment on one of these threads, just reading through what they should do on this situation, and someone's just like, well, Paul Heyman can just go up there and hold a big mirror so that Jay can look into the mirror, and there will be two Usos. We'll be fine. You just there'll be a big mirror there, and Paul Heyman will hold it, and then
make a hologram.
Exactly.
They get one of those bullshit entrances, like the 13-foot tall bronze Roman.
I want a 13-foot tall bronze Roman in my house, just going woo, ooh,
right.
Ooh.
And then, like, to it's for luck, you have to rub his crotch bulge.
Oh yeah.
As you pass under it.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Other big news, though. We'll go with some more pleasant.
Other big news. Pivoting from Roman's bronze crotch.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about this one. I got mixed emotions. Selina Vega back in WWE and back on SmackDown after.
Yeah.
And it was weird, too, because obviously she was let go, and she was let go because realistically she was like, nah, I'm not giving up any of my, like, Twitch and OnlyFans monies. Like, fuck you. Sport unionization, all that stuff. Surprisingly, let go. Or not surprisingly, rather. And then there was a report, like, a month and a half ago about her being spotted at the Performance Center.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing came of it. Never heard a word about it. Just that she was there.
Like like she was there filming something.
Right. And it could that could be anything, right? Like Sure. But clearly back under contract. Hair looks fucking awesome, by the way. I thought she actually looked better than she's ever looked. She looked more like a singles star than she ever has. She looked like more of a star than half that women's roster, is what I'm putting out there.
You're 100% right.
But why the fuck are we having her lose in a roll-up to Liv Morgan?
In, like, 2 minutes?
That's dumb. And this is after Zelina Vega's, like, announced herself for Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the story they're telling is that Liv should be in Money in the Bank, and she's going to be the underdog to take it. Like that's probably the story they're trying to tell.
Okay.
But why would you do that with Zelina Vega? Because now it's sort of eliminated, in my mind, her potential threat as being the one to win Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Now they can save it. They've got a couple weeks where they can, when is Money in the Bank? It's not this. It's like the end of the month, right? I think it's at the end of the month. I think
it's closer to the end of the month.
They've at least got, I think they got at least 2 SmackDowns, maybe 3 before they get to that. So you can, if you make Zelina Vega look good, in the next couple weeks, then it can, possibly work. But this was weird to me. I just didn't understand, like, because there was such a buzz about her when she left that Like, it's like they made a big deal of her coming back, and then just to let the air out of the balloon right away. Like,
Right.
it's like,
Dude,
huh?
nothing about that made sense. Like, I don't know. It was like, I guess I'm glad to see her back. Like, she's a great talent. She's great on the stick.
I'm
like,
glad to see her anywhere. I'm a little disappointed, if I'm not honest, that maybe an AEW deal didn't happen, and it makes me fear for Aleister Black.
I don't think he's going to W. I don't think he's going back.
You don't think he's going back, but the odds have gone up just slightly, right? Like, since Vega going back, like, I get it. Obviously, people can work in different companies and make a living at it, be married and everything. But it does make me a little nervous, like, more than I would have been prior.
I think that more of my issue with it is that coming out of the pandemic era.
That would have been way cooler.
That would have been way cooler. Coming out of the pandemic era, it's a lot harder to see how things shake out with travel schedules and is everybody back to full time?
I think a lot of these guys too are probably trying to work out like what countries are opening, when are they opening, when are travel restrictions reasonable that I can go and do a date in a country without having to quarantine for 2 weeks or whatever this type of thing is. Like, for an American right now to go wrestle in Britain, you basically are taking a month off to wrestle like a week, like, so with like guys like Aleister Black, I have this thought in my head that I'm sure AEW is interested in him and that he would be such a great asset over there. Fit in perfectly. But I think that he's got the desire to want to have a little bit more of an open contract, much like a Moxley has, where he can do dates if they don't conflict with, say, a New Japan or wherever, like whatever indie that he wants to work. And that would probably be the way the AEW would get him, is to grant him something like that. Because I think he's on that level now. I think he's like in the fans' eyes at least, maybe not in Vince's eyes, but I can see Tony Khan seeing what we see in him and want to, okay, you've gained that level of stardom and you're a draw, so therefore we will grant you a more lenient contract is probably the way I would put it. But and that's the reason that I think he won't go back to WWE, is if he has something like that, which also allows him not necessarily to wrestle with WWE, but also to be able to pick and kind of choose his dates, therefore being able to still have a relationship and see his wife, like it works in those ways as well. Like, just give us Tommy End in AEW. I won't shut up until it happens. Like, it's just such a natural fit.
I was gonna say, dude, like, that's the kind of gimmick that's made for AEW.
It's perfect.
Like, dude, you have Sting, you have Darby. Tommy End fits in perfectly. Not with them, but like as far as like you.
But never say never about that too. Like, because you could easily do stuff with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
There's definitely
sort of like 3 generations.
Do you see the Dark Order was kicked off BTE?
I did not.
Oh, the Bucks, they were very unhappy with the Dark Order, and they because of their association more or less with Hangman.
Oh, of course,
and they were very, very mad at the Dark Order, and they have banned them. They have kicked them off of BTE because they got too over, and that's
They literally are being Zack Rydered.
Yeah, they got too over, so they've kicked them off.
They got too over on the internet, and next thing you know, somebody's going to be in a wheelchair getting pushed down the stairs while their girlfriend makes out with fucking John Cena next to him.
I love it though. It's so funny, and they'll spin it off and probably do their own little like thing too. I love this little
Honestly, I
world
hope
that's
they-
being created with all these vlogs like interacting because you've got Sammy's, you've
Yep.
got BTE, even Ethan Page is in on it now, has one.
Yeah.
And I think they're all kind of just like they're all telling they're telling the same story from a million. It's like a Tarantino movie, right? Like where you're seeing
Right.
different perspectives of the same story
Which give
going
you
on,
different information.
which is fun. And
Yeah.
and you don't have to watch it all to get it, but it's if you really want to go down those rabbit holes,
Yeah.
it's at least
it's
there.
fun and it's meta and it's
Yeah,
like
and you know what? I think it does a lot for the wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
I think some of that shit is probably better for their character work than doing it live on TV because they're building who they are
Yeah.
in front of an audience's eye without
Yeah.
having a crowd, without having to like do it in the context of a pro wrestling ring, so that once they then have that character, they can go out and tell that story in the ring, which has long been a problem of the WWE's like a whole system of a lot of people just I don't think knowing their character before they're doing it. The key person that comes to mind on this one, and we talked about this last week, is Rhea Ripley.
oh,
And it's so disheartening to see this because I liked her a lot in NXT. There was just something to her. But I think a little bit of wool was pulled over our eyes in the fact that she was always, I think, a really shitty promo. I'm sorry, Rhea, but it's you were always a shitty promo, and it's even gotten worse on the main roster.
I don't. She's one of those talents that doesn't need to cut long promos.
No.
Like this is the thing. Some talent is good for long promos and can go and spout out like The Rock.
Sure.
Can promo forever and doesn't need anything. And some like Rhea, just like give them short little bursts. Don't give them fucking dissertations. Give them like small interactions. And I'm trying to even remember now like what
She
her promo
barely
style was.
talked in NXT.
That's it.
And that's
that's the thing.
And you almost need to do that with her on the main roster. There's no reason that she has to have these lengthy interactions with Charlotte, which is that whole. It's just stop.
Garbage.
Stop it. Like
Yeah.
No one cares. No one is invested. You damaged Rhea and damaged the championship, and also somehow made Charlotte the most. I mean, not somehow because she does it herself, but most detestable, heel on the goddamn roster, really.
Yeah.
Whilst being uninteresting. Like,
Yes,
and
it's
it's
not
not
a
being,
good kind
it's
of
not
heel
good
heat.
heat. It's not good heat. It's now.
It's not X-Pac heat either.
No, it's somewhere in the middle. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is. It's a very confusing one with Charlotte in particular, and I guess they were just really trying to use Charlotte as a vehicle to build Rhea into the next Charlotte in a lot of ways, and maybe that's what they're aiming for. I think they're going to end up teaming up, and I think that they're going to be buddies by the end of this feud. Like
I
that's
wouldn't be surprised.
that's how it ends.
every feud goes in WWE,
Yeah.
though.
The Bar. Just popped in my head. I don't know.
But you're right. Like, and then
What did he have? Like 8 matches or some shit? Like, or a best
It
of
was the
7?
best of 7.
Yeah.
It was the best of 7 series.
And by the
fully
end,
set up.
oh, we love each other. So I think we're gonna get this feud. Seriously, maybe we don't get a best of 7, but I think we get like a best of 5 or something akin to that. And by the end of it, they're a goddamn tag team, and then they're a dominant tag team in the women's tag team division, which needs help. In fairness,
They are a more believable tag team than Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
correct. And
So
credit where credit's due. They're making shitty lemonade, but at least they're making shitty lemonade,
yeah. They're getting handed shit lemons.
They're getting
so
hit shit lemons, so you're gonna get shit lemonade. Yeah.
When life gives you shit lemons, you make shit lemonade.
I'm glad you got my reference there. It's or analogy rather. Like it's a little convoluted, but yeah.
No, but it's very Trailer Park Boys. I get it.
Oh, dude, I gotta say this too. I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna. I think I like Baron Corbin.
Sad
Corbin is the new. I think they might be turning him face, bro.
Oh yeah.
They're slowly doing a thing, but he's really good at it. Like he's really good at looking sad, and like I'm like, oh my god, I kind of feel like some sympathy for Baron Corbin. Like how
the fuck did this happen?
And that's where like we constantly say WWE doesn't know how to write. No, they do. They do know how to write. They don't know how to book. They know how to write. They don't know how to book. And that's a constant argument within the community is wrestling doesn't need writers. It just needs bookers. Wrestling can have both.
Yep.
But I think on occasion, now some of the writing is atrocious. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not all going to be
It's not all
wonderful.
good. But what they're doing with him is a really good slow character turn and burn.
I like what they're doing with him.
And I think it's fun.
Hilarious.
I think it's funny. I think that, we're going to finally be able to get some sympathy out of it, and we're going to get some comedy out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true, but sorry to interject, but one quick thing because it might change your opinion on this. They've definitely applied for a trademark for Sad Corbin. They've also applied for a trademark for Happy Corbin.
Right.
So I now want to see what Happy Corbin looks like.
Yes. What I was going to say is the thing about Corbin is he's always just presented himself as such a fucking dickhead.
And
he's like...
And maybe that's him. Maybe that's just him.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that is him. I want to like Baron Corbin, and I think that on a personal level, we would probably get along.
I think so too. And it's taken me a while to figure that out because it seems like he might be an all right dude.
I think he's an all right dude that has just like tried to flex a little too hard in the wrong ways, and it's like it hasn't looked like flexing, it's looked like showing off. And like, not, you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between kind of like being like, I've got this versus like, look at my room full of $10,000 watches and my, Ferraris that I have and just shit like that. It's just like, okay, like and then making people feel bad when they call him out on it and sort of like trolling back.
Yeah.
Like, okay. But lately,
but he was always sticking up for like the CTE shit too in the locker room and kind of going
because he's a football player.
Which fair.
Yeah, absolutely. But that kind of thing, like it's just he's showing more of his like true personality lately, and showing that he does have a sense of humor
and lightening up. And it's kind of like it's what happened with Randy over time. Like there was this little like, okay, there's someone in there that's not just like a complete douchebag. Like it's and more power to him. I'm never gonna. We always say on this show, or me and Duncan always say, opinions change, and especially in wrestling. Yep. You can hate somebody and not like their work, and then all of a sudden they get better, and because they change and you change, and your appreciation for things changes.
Part of being a wrestling fan is allowing for the wrestlers to change your mind,
and that's what they're there to do. You know, like in a lot of ways. So no, more power to him if they can make it work. That's great. Also, more power to Tony Kahn, who reportedly in an interview went on to explain that he didn't pay a single dime for the exploding barbed wire death match fiasco. that after the company that he hired, the pyro company, and they keep calling them riggers, which is weird, but it's like, like that's not
they're
what riggers do.
But okay.
But yes, the pyro company that they paid to do it were like, well, no, sometimes that happens, you know, and they kind of tried to blow it off. He's like, no, like I paid you. Apparently, it was about $100,000.
Yeah.
That was invested in this, and he's like, no, I refuse to pay it. And they refunded me every single bit of that. And because of that, that money is in my own little like pocket change book over here kind of thing. He didn't say that, but he said it's there for when I want to do my next exploding barbed wire death match, and it will happen again, and I will do it right. He's like, it's like in his head that he was pissed. So he's already taken that money and he's just set it aside. He's like, nope, that is specifically for the next exploding barbed wire death match when I can find a company that will do it right.
Do it right.
Like, you know,
more power to him. And honestly,
yeah, I like that.
That's good on him. They need to do that match in an arena.
Yeah.
You can't do that outdoors, or you have to do it outdoors, not in Florida.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that one's. And think about like just how like big it would feel in an inside arena, and the sound and the concussion of how it would like, you know, you would feel it. You'd feel it in the top row. You'd feel the boom, you know, like that. We've been around entertainment and pyrotechnics probably too much, but we know how. But we know how that feels when those big mortars and those types of things go off. Like, there definitely is an element of danger there. It's not shit to play around with.
No, but the concussions from those, like, literally will reverberate through an entire arena.
And that's what I can't wait to see with all of wrestling back. Is like, yeah, we've had AEW and you know, a lot of, you know, analysts of wrestling have said about Daly's place, like, oh, the crowd just didn't feel into it. Well, they're not an arena, so they're not like capturing all the sound. Like that sound is going out the sides and out the top, and like it's not all like it's an amphitheater. So like there's so much like, you know, just acoustic wise, you don't get as to when you're in an arena. And when I think this Road Rager tomorrow, with you said just under 5,000, I think, right, somewhere around that range, like. If that's like, it sounds like that's an arena, like a theater, so that would be a closed...
it's like a theater style. So the pictures look sort of like an indoor Dailies,
which is perfect because so that will probably feel a lot bigger from the fans. First off, it's a different fan base, you know, like you're finally taking it on the road.
I think that's part of the reason that you think that there's that criticism of AEW and NXT's fans looking bored.
Yep.
It's like it's the same
people
every week.
Maybe like different variations.
Yeah, you'll get
a
handful, but like NXT is almost always
the same people. Yeah. Because they know the game, they know how to play it, they know how to get in there right away.
And like I got the email. I could be at the Great American Bash right now.
Yeah, same.
But like I was like, it's my one day off. I would rather do our show.
No, I'm the same way, and you know, let's get into that real quick actually, because I was telling you before the show, it's like Great American Bash for my generation, and I'm a little younger than you, but it's not something like we really grew up with. Like I guess we're more of a WCW fan, you would know it than if you were a WWF fan. Right. But I had to go back and I had to just kind of like look at kind of like the lineage. Like, of course I knew, you know, it was created by Dusty Rhodes, and it was originally an NWA thing. And then in partnership with like Jim Crockett Promotions, which of course became WCW. So it's all intertwined. Do you know the first Great American Bash? Do you know what the main event was, Duncan?
Oh God, what? Dusty Rhodes?
Yeah, of course. And the champion, Dusty was challenging in this occasion for the championship. And I will tell you that it was in a steel cage match for the NWA World Television Championship.
World Television Championship.
That's what it says on Wikipedia. 1985, Charlotte,
Flair?
North Carolina, at American Legion Memorial Stadium.
Was it Dusty and Flair?